Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG. And today I have a treat for you guys. I'm super excited to be doing this video. Today it's time to talk about Ibrahim Mbaye, one of our TT. He's been getting a lot of playing time in the beginning of the season. He got minutes against Tottenham. He got minutes against Nantes. He got minutes against Angers. He got minutes against Toulouse. So he's featured in. Did he play against Toulouse? I'm actually not so sure now. Anyway, he's like featured heavily in the squad. He's had minutes in most, if not all, of our games so far this season, and he's a product of our academy. And a kid who's been on a rocket ship of a trajectory for the last couple of years. And at the same time, I think he's generated a lot of debate among fans in terms of what is his real potential, how ready he is for the first team, for Ligue 1, and for professional football, really. And so I wanted to take a step back and kind of introduce the player, look at what he's doing well, look at what he's not doing so well, where he needs to improve, and what kind of future can we predict for him? And so, starting with just an intro to the player. So he was born on the 24th of January, 2008. So he's 17 years old. He's very young. In terms of the 2008 generation, he's by far like the best player in France, and probably in the top 2 or 3 in Europe at this point. He was born in Trappes, in France, in the suburbs of Paris. Right now he's a meter 85, so 6'1". He's developed very well physically, and that's been his advantage. In terms of football, he started playing football with Guyancourt, which is a team in one of the suburbs of Paris as well, not too far from Trappes, in 2013, so 5 years old. He joined Versailles in 2015, 7 years old, and then at age 10, he joined PSG. First with the regular youth team for kids under around 10, and then the pre-academy and the academy. So he's been in PSG for 7 years at this point, long time. And I think, since the 23-24 season, so for the past couple of years, he's really been on a, like I said, I think the best way to describe it is really a rocket ship trajectory. First with the U19. So he played with the U19 at not even 16-year-old, which is crazy, and helping them achieve as well. And then starting in 24, he started featuring in the first team, training with the team, getting minutes and so on, and progressively getting more and more. So yeah, I think last season for him, it really started he actually got some minutes in a friendly game against Sturm Graz in the summer prep on 7th of August, and really impressed with Enrique. He scored a goal in that friendly game. He played in the second preseason match as well against Leipzig. He was a starter. So Luis Enrique started really he liked him obviously before, but because he had trained with the pro team before, but really getting minutes. On 16th of August 2024, so about a little bit more than a year ago now, he made his official debut for PSG in a game in Ligue 1 against Le Havre, becoming the youngest ever player to start a game for PSG at 16 years, 6 months, and 23 days. So even Warren Zaïre-Emery, who was an example of a player coming up at a really young age, was older when he played his first professional game with PSG. So that's really saying something. And throughout last season, he played in I think 9 games in Ligue 1 overall. He had his start in Coupe de France against Saint-Brieuc. He scored his first goal in March 25 against Saint-Etienne. And then he actually came on the field against Atletico Madrid in the Club World Cup. Just crazy to think of, and he came on the pitch as well in the Super Cup and did really well against Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, very much a rocket ship trajectory for him. he's also like he's been a player that's been in the eyes and minds of a lot of youth scouts and football professionals for a while. He made an impact, obviously in U19, but even before that, essentially, like since his youngest age, it's funny. I was like trying to find out about the player. Apparently, he's got one of his brother. He's 5 years older than him, and that's who he used to play with as a kid. So even as a kid, and really starting to play football at a really young age, he was playing with kids who were 5 years older than him. And one of his coach in Versailles when he was 9 years old was saying like, yeah, even with us, he was playing with the U10, U11, so the age group above him. And in PSG, that's been the case ever since he joined the club as well. And the reality of it is that some of it is fairly easy to explain, which is one of his big qualities, actually, is physicality. Actually, I'll jump to the next thing because I've got some footage to share with you guys. So that's another video I ripped off of YouTube, but that gives you a sense of what player he is. So he's a player who was always like very early to develop, and his physicality really like helped power him through. At the same time, what all of his coaches are saying is that he wasn't a one-trick pony, and he was never just like a strong kid or a fast kid. He was also always very smart in terms of how he looks at the game, in terms of the vision, and in terms of being able to make an impact with his head. And so that really speaks to him. Obviously, to this day, like his physicality is still the biggest asset that he has in his game. We've seen it in the games that he's played with the pro, like the speed that he has, but also the strength is really something that's driving him forward. At the same time, he's very much developed in terms of the technical elements of the game. So he's developed in terms of his passing, in terms of his shooting, in terms of his dribbling. That's the work that he was doing with the academy for the last couple of years, and the improvement areas that they laid out in front of him were really in terms of improving his dribbling, improving the movements that he has on the side as a winger, improving his first touch, so that he puts himself in the best possible situation and creates 1v1 opportunities for himself. And the idea is for him to develop into a fairly complete winger, which is what he is right now, who can go wide and cross the ball into the area, or like move back to the infield and either pass or shoot and finish the action himself. And that's really like the player that he is right now. Obviously, and I'll caveat this, he's still 17 years old, so he still has a lot of room for improvements. But yeah, he's already like a very advanced and very interesting player just on his own. Another like really important thing that a lot of people are saying about him is that even from an early age and even now, he's a great not only player but a great person and a great kid to work with. He's very smart, he's very mature, he's very hardworking. He listens to his coach and really like integrates what they tell him to do. He wants to succeed and he's prepared to make the sacrifices that it takes. He's got a great family unit around him as well. They've got a family with 7 kids. The family is into boxing, so the dad is into Thai boxing. His older brother, who I mentioned before, is playing in like probably like 6th or 7th division or something like this in football. So they do have an understanding of the sporting world and what it takes to be successful in a sport, which is massive asset for a kid. And yeah, even Luis Enrique has said it. Luis Enrique is given a quote in which he's saying, I translated from like the French quote, so I don't know exactly what it was, but he said like a player who's already mature, and that was at the beginning of last season, so 1 year ago, a player who's already mature, serious, and professional. And I think, from Luis Enrique, that's probably the biggest compliment he can pay to a youngster. And I can very much imagine how it'd be like really taken by the player and by the skills that he has, but also by the fact that he's a hardworking player. He's one that listens, that really like takes what his coaches say into account. I think that would be massively attractive for Luis Enrique. And that's one of the things that for me, obviously, like at 17 years old, some of his games with the first squads have been good. Some of them have been okay, and a lot of them have been like not so great. And so, yeah, like I said, there's been fans who are questioning the quality of the player and whether he has the potential in the long term. I think like Luis Enrique would see him in training day in, day out, and would see, not only the skills and the potential, but also like how hard he's working, how much he's improving, and how he's developing as a player, and like would really take that into account when it comes time to give him minutes and giving some playing time in the squad. And so for me, him making it into the squad and getting more and more playing time, it's really a recognition of his hard work and of the attitude that he has. And it's funny because even with the young category, the U19, U17, and so on, whether that's with PSG or even with the French national team, because he played with all of the young French national teams. He's always recognized within the locker room as a player who's like doesn't need to say much, but shines as an example just by virtue of working so hard and being so dedicated to making it at the highest level. And so, the other youngsters look at that, and you can imagine a 16-year-old walking into a locker room of 19 years old, players who are literally 3 years older than him, and they look at him and they see his skill and they see the impact that he makes. They see his work and his dedication, and they see him just like, not having a bad attitude, not speaking loudly, not being disrespectful or anything. And he gets respect this way. And so ultimately, like even players who are older than him come to respect him because of those quality. And I think, it really like does speak when you think about his potential to develop, because that's qualities that ultimately are next to impossible to teach in a youngster. So it's great that he has them already. So, next TT superstar. I think that's a big question. He signed the biggest ever new professional contract in PSG history. He's already paid 1.2 million euro per year gross, which last season would he would have been like the best player in 5 Ligue 1 team. Just based on his current salary. So he's got a huge contract, which raised a lot of eyebrows. And I think that's obviously it's the market and the reality of PSG and a big club, but it's also a sign of the potential that people see in him. Some of his coaches have actually compared him with Kingsley Coman in terms of his potential, saying like they've got the same kind of strengths when it comes to speed and development, except like Ibrahim Mbaye has more strengths, brute physical strengths and development in that area, which is great considering all of the injuries that Coman has faced. So he's compared with Coman, he's compared with Steele, and I think a lot of his coaches talk about him, about a player who like has the potential to make it not only in Ligue 1 but really get to a Champions League playing level, and then from there on, you don't know because there's so many variables that go into it, but like I said, for his age group, he's in the top 3 in Europe at the moment, so that does put him already in a category of players who are very exciting. When he played in youth tournaments in 2024 in the Montaigu tournament, which is a U16 tournament for national teams. Literally, he picked up like the best player of the competition, and all of the scouts are looking at him and talking about him. So he's one that's got the basis of what it takes. Whether he makes it all the way, all the signs are here, but you never know. A bad injury, a bad career choice, could change, whatever could impact. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. And I think the last thing for me as well is really in terms of his position. In PSG and in the academy, he's been playing like pretty consistently as a right winger. Even if like earlier on when he was a kid, and even for him when you ask him, he's saying his more natural position is on the left. And it's something that we've actually seen this season, is that the two games where he's performed best, which have been like when he comes on the pitch against Tottenham, and then like against Angers, he's been on the left. When he plays like not so great, makes a lot of mistakes, actually on the right, when he starts against Nantes and when he comes on the pitch against Toulouse. I think in the academy, playing on the right, he had like, at least for the past couple of years with the U19, he's got like first year Zage behind him, who we know like got minutes with the pro team and now like just moved to Copenhagen. And last year, like he played with David Bolly behind him, who's also like a great TT, like next superstar. So there was a lot of strains on that right side, and obviously that would have helped him perform there. And I think, ultimately he's a right-footed. So the question is he going to be better as a right-footed, playing on his natural foot on the right wing, or playing as an inverted winger on the left side? And there's advantages and disadvantages for both. Like if he plays on the right, the reality is that if you cross, we don't necessarily have a lot of presence and height and so on in the area. And so a lot of crosses that we do typically get wasted. And so that's a huge chunk of his games that could get wasted in that context. But if he settles on the left, obviously he's got both Kvara and Barcola playing ahead of him, and so does that reduce the amounts of minutes that he can get? I heard one of his coaches say that he could even like develop into the middle and as a number 9. So wouldn't be entirely surprised if like 6 months from now Luis Enrique tries that at some point, knowing that Luis Enrique likes looking at players in different positions as well. So yeah, that will be a question mark for him, on where not only he can settle best, but also like where does the team need him, and do those things align in a way that helps propel him to his next stage of development. So yeah, that's kind of where he is at this point. He's a youngster. We've seen it as well. He's developing. Like I said, he still has a lot of skills to pick up. He does have like strong bases, like I said, in terms of physicality, but also in terms of vision and understanding of the game, and now in terms of technicals. So he is starting to be a fairly well-rounded young player. But yeah, he does have some ways to go before he gets to the level. And like, honestly, like, the comparison curve for him is also so harsh, and that's what I feel for him. Because honestly, in PSG, you're a winger. Like, look who you're getting compared with. Like, you're getting compared with Kvara, with Barcola, with Dembele, with like literally like the worst of the bunch is Doué. Like, it's so hard, such a high level. So yeah, obviously he's not at the level of those guys yet, but potentially he could get there, which makes him exciting just for that. And I think I really like the fact that Luis Enrique seems to have taken him under his wing as well, because he does look like a player who does need some face put in him and some consistency. And I think, you see him come onto the pitch against Toulouse and start missing a few things early on. And you can see his confidence dropping, and then he misses more things and it turns into a bad game for him. It's not unheard of or unseen at this age. It's completely normal, actually. But yeah, like the fact that the coach is giving him consistent game times in the beginning of the season, seems to put a lot of trust in him. Hopefully that gives him space to get past those early jitters and really like show off his game, and show off his skills. And ultimately, like, he could be a player that we'll all be excited to have in a couple of years. 17 is early. Not everyone is Yamal. And yeah, in a couple of years, he could very well be at a level where he can be a very reliable not necessarily a starter. I don't know if he'll get this far this fast, but someone that we're happy to have in our rotation who can help us out. We always need players coming out of the academy for the Champions League squads. And yeah, he could be one of them. He's a very exciting one to be sure. So anyway, this is what I had on Mbaye. For me, like, he's a player that I like, and like, I guess you get this from the video, but like, he's a player that I like and that I'm genuinely excited to see continue to develop. And I'm really hopeful that he makes it to the top level. We'll see. Only time will tell. My analysis is pretty positive on the player. I know lots of people have different opinions of him. But yeah, time will tell, and hopefully for all of us and for PSG, I end up on the right side of the debate. Anyway, that was it for me for Mbaye. As always, please drop a like on this video. Let me know in the comment like how you see the player, how do you rate him, what did you think of the beginning of the season and what we've seen so far. And yeah, as always, please subscribe to the channel, massively helps. Please hit the bell to get notified on future videos. Share the video around if you want, Don't hesitate, share it with your friends, your cousins, your mom, whoever you want. And don't forget, wonder kids or not, ici c'est Paris!